As you're enjoying a cup of freshly brewed Pears Gourmet coffee, do you think about where it comes from? And no, Mary, it's not the grocery store.
But the fruit to cup journey, that's what it's called. And it's interesting, is it sustainable, and what's the difference?
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway?
What's the difference? Well, from Pears Gourmet and Marathon Ventures, we're happy to have welcome back John Larsen and Jim Kosalos, his Pears partner in sustainable coffee. Now, the story about how you guys met is interesting. How did that happen, John?
Well, we go back a couple years ago. At Marathon Ventures, Inc., we took our management team down to Puerto Vallarta for a one-week, I'll call it a retreat. Part of it was celebrating the success we had had over the prior 5 years and then doing some planning for the coming 5 years. During that week, we took some time to have some downtime. Mike Sortino, my partner, and I took our wives on a day expedition up in the mountains. So, you know, I told Mike I can't go down to Mexico and not see the coffee growing. Yeah. So he arranged a guide. We found ourselves 3 or 4 hours into the mountains in a small town and seeing coffee growing for the first time. So for us, it was really an awakening to exactly what happens fruit to cup. So as we started building a relationship with these coffee growers, naturally we wanted to do business with them. And you would go back when we visit some more growers, but we found it very difficult for us as roasters to bridge the gap all the way to the coffee producers. So naturally I start doing my research. I use Google. I get on Google. Right. I type in Mexico, Nayarit, the state, coffee, and up comes San Cristobal coffee and Jim's name and face. And so I pick up the phone. I call Jim. I say, hey, here's what we're doing. And he says, well, hey, I've been on the ground for years down here. You know, we should talk. I said, well, we're going to be down there next month. Let's arrange something and kind of pick it up from there. I met Jim at his office in Topeka, and thank goodness, I'm telling you, it's been a godsend, honestly.
It's kismet.
Because, right, we could not have done it on our own without somebody like Jim.
Jim, talk about the work you do, and what is your focus?
Well, what we've been trying to do is develop quality control systems in order to raise the quality of coffee and also attract more money, more premiums for the growers.
Yeah. How do you do that? I mean, walk us through, I guess not only that part of the process, but eventually the aroma in here is amazing.
It does.
I want to look at the different phases that we have here in front of us. So what's the impact to quality in your day-to-day?
Well, we started trying to be coffee importers, and as I was discovering the difficulty of that, we started getting into the quality control and learning about all these steps ourselves.
Yeah.
First of all, the coffee grows on a little bush, and it's a fruit, and it looks like a cranberry. And those cranberries have to be selectively picked because there could be green ones, immature ones, and ripe ones on the bush at the same time.
So hand-picked.
Hand-picked.
And we're looking at the process here. I think people at home might see this and say, okay, what am I looking at? So well, and then it's transported.
These are the steps that the coffee has to pass through before it gets from that plant to your cup.
And then on the left side,
right here, we have dried fruit. So these are the cranberries that are already dried. So this is one way to process coffee, and you would hull these to get the green beans. Then if we do a normal process as a washed coffee, this is called parchment.
They look like it looks like peanuts.
They look like peanuts.
Little
That's
peanuts.
right, they do. Well, the coffee bean is inside there. So there it is.
If you could, yeah, just hold that. Let's hold that up for the camera real quick. Let me get that. You can see the bean inside of there.
Right, and when these are processed, you get to this. So this is green coffee.
And those look like pistachios.
Well,
but
in a little bit.
Coffee.
Well, these in fact are cherry pits, guys. Okay. So that's what coffee is. It's a cherry pit.
Okay.
So generally, there's 2 of these in the seed.
Yeah.
And they're like this, side to side. So that's inside that cranberry. And once in a while, there's what's called a pea berry. There's just 1 in there. And those are separated specially, sold for a premium. And when this coffee is put into a coffee roaster and roasted, out comes the stuff.
The roasted look, that's how that comes out right there.
Exactly right.
Okay,
this is what the consumer is used to seeing.
Exactly. This is
roasted.
If you don't see it as it is here, sort of ground in this way, then maybe you see it like this. And so as a consumer, you have no idea what it looked like in the 3+ stages.
Absolutely.
Before it ended up like that.
I remember being in a grocery store in northern Wisconsin with my mom, and we walked down the aisle, and this box caught my eye, and it did a double take, and it was a box of cranberries. But I was thinking, what are coffee cherries doing here in northern Wisconsin? I've seen more coffee fruit than I have cranberries in the last few years.
Oh, that's funny.
Where exactly are you at in Mexico, and where are these grown?
This coffee comes from the state of Nayarit. It's one of the northernmost coffee growing areas in Mexico. It's about even with the tip of the Baja peninsula and then over on the coast. We're on the west coast, north of Puerto Vallarta, the state of Nayarit. And it's grown at altitudes of around 1,000 meters, 3,000 feet. And you can look at the sun sinking at sunset into the Pacific from the mountain fields.
And you were talking about the soil.
Cool.
Soil is all acidic, it's all volcanic, very porous. Coffee loves to have nice acidic soil. Kona coffee is the same way.
What is the biggest challenge for you, John, in bringing this whole fruit to the cup that we enjoy?
You know, we hit on it earlier. I mean, to be a roaster and try and jump over all the steps and work with the producers would be nearly impossible. We definitely want to work with them. We want them to have a sustainable way of life. The key to that's going to be they need more money for their coffee.
Right.
Hence, quality comes into the picture. And truly, this is where Jim has been a pioneer, to work with the growers, to make sure they understand all the steps they need to go through to improve their quality. If they can improve their quality, they can get more money for their coffee.
Well, this is...
Yeah. Oh, no, if they get more money, they can have a sustainable way of life, they can take care of the environment, and the whole loop is complete. And so once again, without the structure Jim has put in place, you know, so it's really important that we have that available to us as roasters, because it would be nearly impossible to go direct with the cultural, the language, the governmental regulations, everything required to be put into place.
This is really fascinating stuff. And you're going to be
it?
back tomorrow to talk a little bit more about what we're learning
This is
here.
the sort of conversation that they'll tell you. They could talk to you about it for weeks on end because so much literally goes into it. So tomorrow we're going to get another look at this conversation, talking more about sustainability and looking forward to all of that, guys. We appreciate your time very much today. By the way, if you want to learn more about Pears Gourmet, you're free to log on to pearsgourmet.com. And if you want to look at this segment again and more, you're free to visit our website. It's omahamorningblend.com.
It's fascinating, to say the least, and today we're picking up a conversation that we started yesterday about coffee, how it's grown and how it's processed.
Our friends from Pears Gourmet and Marathon Ventures are committed to improving the quality and supply of specialty coffee.
And they're back. They're back today to talk about their work. John Larsen and Jim Kosalos. Good to see you guys again. It's been a long time.
I know, 24 hours. Welcome back. Good to see you.
Jim, your focus is quality and supply. How do you go about improving those two things?
Well, basically, it's trying to get control of process. Every one of these coffee growers thinks they have the best coffee on the planet. At the end of the day, they're great farmers, but half of them are drinking soluble coffee.
Right.
So they really don't know much about coffee per se as a product. So we have to help them gain control of process, and at the end of the day, guarantee quality that comes out of the mill.
And here's quality right here. Quality
That's right.
control.
Is that what they're doing there? We're going to look at a series of pictures here. And one of the subjects that I think is really fascinating is this topic of tracking. And as we look through, I don't know if any of these images will refer back to that, but if you don't mind, talk to me about that. And why is it important?
When we do the quality control, it's basically process control, so you're trying to get control of every step. Once you have control of every step, you have a documentation trail and you have a tracking trail. So at the end of the day, when all the coffee is processed, we bag the coffee for export, and we sew tags into those bags, and those tags have a quality certification label on one side and a barcode to track the coffee right to source and give that information on the internet to the public.
That's amazing.
That is amazing. Talk about this very special partnership with a certain town in Mexico.
You love this town, don't
Yeah.
you?
Yeah.
And
No,
you love
absolutely.
the people there, and they love you right back.
Yeah, Jim, and once again, instrumental in aligning us with a group of growers in El Cuarenteno, Mexico. And so we were there, earlier this year, we were there. It was kind of a core group of us. But why we were there, and here's some
Look how
pictures of
beautiful
what
that
it looks
shot
like
is.
there. But you know, why we were there, exploring the possibility of doing direct trade with them. We tossed out the idea saying, hey, what if we brought our families back here? You know, and they immediately picked up on it, loved the idea. Jim, once again, was the facilitator of this whole thing. And this last summer, the Larsen and Sortino families, our large contingent of us, came down, spent some time with the producers and with their families in El Cuarenteno, Mexico. And so there's a series of photos here, but it was really a nice combination of truly relationship, getting to know each other, enjoying their culture, their fine cuisine, and we ate way too much, but the food was fabulous, the people were fabulous, we did some community service work, and the key with that is it wasn't us doing community service for them, it was us combined doing community service for their community. So there's some pictures of us in there painting their hall, we did some work on the church school, we did some education on their coffee growing. and just had a wonderful time.
You know what? I want to bump in there if I can, because we saw one picture of you, Jim, talking to the children of some of these farmers in their own community and educating them on what you know about growing and processing.
That's true. We've given coffee quality control courses as well, in conjunction with a local university. And we've invited these people down and worked with them, basically helping them get control of process and understand that they have to be able to know their own product in order to improve it.
That's incredible.
And we're looking at some of the coffee from the way that it comes off the plant, from fruit to cup right here. And this is kind of the process.
That's the whole chain.
I feel like we're cheating you at home because you could only see this. You could not smell it. It is so fragrant and so delicious. But we talked yesterday about these different steps. So what you see on the left side of your screen now is kind of this cranberry phase, right? And then it almost looks like a peanut and then a pistachio, as we said yesterday. But this is really neat. And as consumers, we rarely get to see those first couple of steps, just the final one, maybe two. Just the beans and the grounds there, as you see on the screen.
How do you go about marketing the coffee and telling the unique story about its journey it gets from Mexico to here?
Yeah, it's very difficult to do in a short period of time, and we've been challenged with trying to convey that on a small package. We're doing our best. So from the first and foremost, this coffee is available today as our new item, Morning Blend.
Yay!
Yes, so tie into the show.
Delicious, by the way.
Right, so it is. It's available today for all of our Pears Gourmet followers. They can get it in the local grocery store. They can go online to pearsgourmet.com. We clearly need to take this story to a much broader audience to get this story out there and to really help the cause, so to speak. So Jim and I are currently working on how we're going to co-brand and market this product. And it really comes back to a couple of things. One is the quality. And I can't stress enough, without Jim's work and helping them build that quality, we can't go through the sustainable model of making sure they get more money for their coffee. That really is key. That allows us so many other things to happen. So Jim has enabled that. We're able to give them more money for their coffee so that they get a fair price for their coffee, which is a key component here. Beyond that, the direct trade relationship, what Jim's been able to do, such that we as a roaster are able to jump a number of steps and work directly with the growers. We're able to take some the middle steps out and push more. That's one way we're able to push more of the money to the producers. But that's also one way we're able to make sure that as a consumer, it's fairly priced. And so you put the two together, and we really feel the key to our marketing will be that it's fairly traded and it's fairly priced.
You really get the sense here that while it's maybe about coffee, you're impacting economies, both here in Omaha and there in El Quaranteno, and then also the lives of everybody involved.
Without a doubt.
It's fascinating, guys.
And that region of Mexico just produces some great coffee.
Oh my goodness.
And high quality stuff. So.
Yeah. Wow, you're on the leading edge of this. So neat. Let us know next time you go to Mexico and come back. Bring us some more pictures, or just take us with you.
Hopefully you can come
or just take us with you.
Bring a camera crew.
We'll do it. It can be arranged.
We'll sign up for that assignment any day. Gentlemen, thank you. We appreciate it.
Thank you.